This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, everybody. Thank you for showing up and reworking your schedule for the 6 o'clock time slot. So let's just dive right in. Did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes? Yes. Yeah. Does anybody want to?
I'll make a motion to approve the January minutes.
Second. Anyone second it?
I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Great. All right. And that moves us on to public speak, and we have a guest tonight.
Hi, everyone. So I think I know everyone here, but I'll just state my name for the record. So Felicia Jatek, Precinct 2. And unfortunately, I can't stay for the whole meeting today, but I just wanted to come and chat a little bit and share out just post last month's meeting in which, or I should say last month's city council meeting in which I shared the news about cultural chaos being canceled, which I know this board has had a lot of discussions about. So I did have a chance to chat with Pascaline about this afterwards, but wanted to come here and talk a little bit with you all and to share out a bit about why I shared that. And I'm not sure everyone knows that sort of timeline of events or not, but basically after the last ECA meeting, Steve, my husband, came home and told me what happened. And I just kind of gloss over a little bit of the back and forth, felt that the public really needed a say in some of this discussion because this is a huge event. I'm not here to say or to advocate for you to change your minds on this because, respect your decisions as a board and a committee, but just more to explain a little bit about why I shared out the way I did, because I really felt like there's just a process that obviously we all follow as being a public board and a public group. And I just wanted to make sure that the public's voice was not lost in a lot of the discussion. Since the news was made public, I have heard personally from a number of people, both just folks who enjoy the event as well as Cottage Street businesses who were really upset about this cancellation. I know you all heard a lot on all sides as well. So really my thought process in sharing out in the way that I did was to make sure that the public had a chance to share at the then upcoming Cottage Street subcommittee meeting so that they could just, again, have their input in. I know that this committee does a lot of work, that this decision was not lightly taken, that this was something that was heavily discussed. Having served myself on this committee for 2+ years, I know that this is a topic that's been long sort of in the mix in any case. It's a very expensive event. There's a lot of considerations that go into it. So it's not something that just came out of the blue. And I also remember being part of this committee and just the amount of time and discussion and care that was put into things like changing the day of the week for something like Art Walk. I just didn't necessarily feel, both as a member of the public and someone who serves the public, that there was a forum for people to share their thoughts and opinions. The other thing I want to just quickly mention too is that and this is not to call out my own husband here, but I just wanted to make sure that when votes like this happen, that they're happening appropriately, because my belief is that Steve should have abstained from the vote, given that he has a financial interest in cultural chaos. Obviously, he voted in a way that wasn't to serve his own financial interests, but I just, again, felt like there was maybe some more considerations that I wanted to make sure were just both made clear to the public and to this committee. But all that to be said, I did want to come here and just sort of share a little bit about my perspective on that, because in no way did I want to undermine the hard work that I know Pascalina does and that you all do here. It was something that if I could go back, I would try to make sure that I would check in first before sharing out. It's just sort of an unfortunate kind of combination of events and timing that played out the way it did. But I did want to come here and just kind of share that with you all, because I respect you all deeply respect Pascalina, Allison, Tracy, all the work that you all do. And I know that the ECA has a lot of great things in the works, and wanted to make sure that I just shared a little bit about my perspective, because I know that sometimes it's easy to, sort of get lost in the weeds, and especially with these kinds of things, with public events and with, things that are of a heightened nature, it can be easy just to hear from sort of a few voices. And so I wanted to make sure that there were, many voices involved in a decision like this. So I do have to run. I know I saw your hand. I guess take questions, but I am actually in the middle of another meeting right now that I'm missing. So
I think it's really important context. I appreciate you coming this evening. I think it's really important context to add that this conversation has not been happening in a vacuum. The years that this has been going on, and that this is really just this year is how it's been discussed. And it's been discussed in the context of this is a really critical juncture for the arts, for funding, for ECA, for this community, and that we've been meeting to have deep conversations about this program and others for a long time, and that's kind of impossible working at a breakneck pace once the wheels keep going and going and going, and having that kind of evaluative moment is really challenging. So the conversations around this were that this break is around engaging in that kind of evaluation, that kind of process that you're speaking to. This is that opportunity that we're building by creating space and time to do so, some capacity within this group in Pascalina's time. So I think that that's an important part for you to understand and for everyone else to understand as well, that this is by design, and it's very much intended towards the kind of public community engagement that's expansive and not limited to just a few voices.
I appreciate that, Maude. And again, I think just to reiterate my point, I think two things can be true at the same time. I think what you said is absolutely valid, and I appreciate that. And I think the public deserved more of a voice before this decision was made. So again, we can agree to disagree on that, but in my opinion, I think those things are both true at the same time, and that's why I came here to share that. So appreciate you all. I'm happy to have more conversation later. I hate to run, but I would love to stay and have more discussion, but I do have to go to another meeting right now. But thank you all for giving me the space to share. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming. All right. Thank you, Maude. Appreciate it as well. And we will just go right into updates, unless you feel the need to say anything more. Does anybody want to? I think we can go on to updates.
Great. So we had a wonderful art walk. It was the first art walk of the year in February, and it was, I heard all across the board, like a great turnout. I had a meeting with the Eastworks leadership a couple days later, and they had wonderful things to report on their end. We've begun printing out what is happening at Eastworks and keeping them on hand at Old Town Hall. And I don't know the direct correlation of how that is working, but that is something that we've added. And yeah, it was a very successful event. This coming Saturday is Art Walk, and at ECA Gallery, we'll have our first artist from the incoming roster. So February was from the 2024 open call. And so it's nice to be, meeting one of our new artists. She will be performing, she's a cellist, and she will be performing during Art Walk. She knows that there will be bluegrass down the hall. We've made little accommodations in the past for poetry and music. But she is also bringing a friend. And so there's going to be some nice music during Art Walk. And then she's also looking to do, her name is Rebecca Schrader, and she's looking to do, and she's a painter, a closing reception on either Wednesday, March 25th or Thursday, March 26th. It'll be like a small chamber music presentation at ECA Gallery. So I'm checking with our neighbors now to secure permissions and make sure there's just no conflicting events in the building. But I think it's great that our first new artist of the year is activating the space in that way.
No activity, it was warning us. Make sure we're still awake.
Public art?
Yes, so some of you may have seen, ECA just released a request for proposals for a new public sculpture. I think it's important to point out that the new public sculpture will be homed on a concrete footpad that was poured during the Union Street redesign after we advocated for that to be included in the plan during the public hearing years ago, maybe like 2021. And so, when the Public Art Committee was deciding what the next project would be, we looked at a lot of different potential spaces. We're going to be doing, it's going to have a mosaic component, and the funds were raised during the Have a Heart for Public Art fundraiser brunch at Galaxy last year. And yeah, we just thought, well, there's like lots of spaces, but why don't we follow in the footsteps of, the planning department, the DPW, sort of like the infrastructure that's being laid down for future public art. And so we decided to go with a public sculpture that includes a mosaic component. And so we put a request for proposals together. It was reviewed by 2 mosaic artists, because this is something that's new for us, at least since I've been here. And, so they had some feedback and we updated it to accommodate for some of the language around mosaic work and some of the reality around mosaic work. But it's a $12,000 project. That's all from the Public Art Committee budget. And the deadline, I've heard from a few people with questions about the application. The deadline to apply is Wednesday, March 25th. We will be reviewing the applications at our April meeting, the Public Art April meeting, and then selecting an artist after that. Spring and summer will be the fabrication stage. And then we're looking to install the new artwork in September.
Where is this on Union
Celebration.
Street? Where's the pad?
So it's on Union Street at the Manhan Running Trail
Okay.
on the south side of the street. There's a small square.
So, a number of years back, we did another sculpture on the Ferry Street side.
Mm-hmm.
And it was called the Gateway to the Mills on that side. So this one we were originally going to do it on Union Street, but because of Union Street redesign was happening, we went to Ferry Street. And so now we're kind of bookending these 2 points. And so this will be called Pathway to
The Mills.
the Mills, Pathway to the Mills. The other
So it's
is
the Ferry
Gateway,
Street
and
Gateway
this
to
this
Union
is-
Street
yeah,
pathway.
is Pathway. And so it'll be kind of nice to have those 2 bookends. And it's, we've been working on that for a while, so.
And then things are still in the hopper with Amy Johnquist and the painting of the utility boxes. That will happen, we're hoping, in spring. And then we're also in the process of putting together this year's Have a Heart for Public Art brunch. So it's pretty active on the committee at the moment.
Great. All right, the Cottage Street Cultural District.
Yeah, so a lot has certainly happened since our last meeting. We had talked about a timeline for an announcement. Things changed. I was able to contact everyone on the cultural district committee to let them know why we were switching gears and making our announcement sooner than we had originally planned on. Everyone was very okay with that and encouraging of that. I have since met with the Cottage Street Cultural District Subcommittee. I've also since met with the Cottage Street Merchants Association and have done a lot of listening. I will say that a number of community members came to the Cultural District Subcommittee meeting. I want to thank Allison and Maud and Tracy for attending as well. There were representatives of Oxbow. There were it was a mix of like business owners, artists from Cottage Street, community members who really had questions and wanted some more clarification. I was able to address all of the concerns that were in the room. I felt very positive about that meeting and several other meetings I've had with people who are directly impacted by the change this year, and feel very encouraged by the fact that when people have more of a context and more information, it I think people are quite understanding of where we're coming from and what we're doing. So I also did a lot of, like I said, listening to the different members of the Cottage Street Cultural District and members of the Merchants Association and I've been in touch with most all of our program partners for Cultural Chaos because I'm looking to incorporate Show Circus Studio, a number of the different artists and performers. And so this is still a draft. The first two copies look nicer than the rest of them, but this is a draft, but I just thought it would be good to pass that around. Here, I'll take half of them. And this is an idea of what we're doing. I think it's very, very close to being finalized. On the left, you see our ongoing programs. So they're sort of divided by ongoing programs and events. On the left, we have all of our art walks. We will be taking some from the budget of Cultural Chaos and like boosting up our art walks, especially on Cottage Street. We have a lineup of poetry in April. We've got the Easthampton Public Library will have a show, a multi-generational show at ECA Gallery. They're also doing a storytelling event at City Space on Saturday, the 11th. I'm working with the poet laureate. She's putting together a really beautiful presentation. It's not in the cultural district. It's at Abandoned Building Brewery on Saturday, April 25th from 6 to 8 p.m. She's putting together a lineup of readers. We'll be doing the poetry poster project in the Cottage Street Cultural District, as well as What is the Flavor of Ice Cream with Mount Tom's again this year. We will be introducing our Beats on the Boardwalk. This will be an ongoing series. There's going to be 11. It's going to be, and this was like, at first I imagined Saturday afternoon, talk to Cottage Street business owners, learned that Saturdays are their busiest day as it is. They wanted to support another time of the week for people to come in. So they will be on Thursdays from 6 till
5 to 7.
5 to
7. Thank you. And it will be right here on the boardwalk, which you can hear up the street. People are really excited about it. So we'll be, programming 11 different, we'll do a call to musicians. So we'll be getting the word out as well as growing our roster of musicians and performers. I've also been talking to Show Circus Studio about like, could we hire 3 stilt walkers? You know, like, is that safe? Do you feel comfortable? Like, is that something you do? And, you know, for art walk, for Beats on the Boardwalk night, that type of thing. And they're totally able to do that. And the price is great and fits within all of the budgets that we're talking about. I will say that the Beats on the Boardwalk are programmed on the weeks that are the opposite weeks of Food Truck Fridays. So they will never happen the same week. It's always that they're sort of like leapfrogging each other through May, June, July, August, September. And so just thinking holistically about programming. And then in terms of events, there are events that we will be partnering with the Cottage Street Merchants Association with. I know that I've had some conversations with a few people at this table and some other folks in the community. Even though the Cottage Street Merchants Association is very committed toward bringing people into the business, we are partnering with them in ways that are very true to our mission, which is to bring arts into the community. So, you know, as a baseline, we'll be offering live music during those events. For the May Day Spring Floral, we're going to be doing a call to artists for handmade flowers, and they will be in storefront windows. We're also going to be doing a plein air painting event, which used to happen like more than 10 years ago here in Easthampton. So activating the boardwalk in that way. We're also putting together a sidewalk festival and bringing in a number of program partners from Cultural Chaos, but working with the existing infrastructure in the Cottage Street Cultural District. So looking at utilizing the municipal parking lot across from Marigold, sidewalks, boardwalk, the pond. There will be a floating sculpture exhibit. I called a meeting with public safety, the DPW, planning, and parks. And we will all be meeting this coming Wednesday afternoon because I want to walk through our programs that will be taking place throughout the year. And I want to check in with them about what the public safety needs will be, concerns, answer questions, get some feedback about things we need to be paying attention to. So that is kind of like the final remaining green light. I don't want to announce all this until we've had a chance to really take a close look and make sure we're all working together. And looking to activate spaces like Marigold for that event, like really, again, working within the existing infrastructure, but doing it in a way that's safe and, you know, conscientious for all involved. And then this August 22nd, Summer Sounds, we have the space secured at Park Hill Orchard for a summer concert. I was thinking 2 bands, maybe some performance, some like supplemental, but again, just working with existing spaces, existing infrastructure, you know, talking about food. There's a farm stand there. We could also bring in a food truck. You know, we have lots of options. And I think it's just really important. I just want to like really call attention to the fact that all these things, aside from Art Walk and Poetry Month, everything else, including like 11 times of activating the boardwalk, all of this is being done. Like if the Cultural Chaos budget was $25,000 this year, all of this is happening for, it's like $19,600. I'm right now calling an extra 5,000, a total of 25,000, that extra 5,000 plus is contingency. Any public safety will be coming out of that. But it really is remarkable to me, like what we're able to do. I, as we know, part of the decision to shift gears was financial. Part of it was the time involved in planning it. I estimate that all the planning for this will be 2/3. That's like a real, like conservative, sort of like overestimating, of what it takes to plan cultural chaos. I will also say that every one of these events has a rain date. That is like a silent golden treasure that we've been lucky to not have to ever have experienced so far. But that is very meaningful to me, that there's like literally a rain date that like we'll just do it another day. It's like very different. And the other thing that's really meaningful to me, and I just want to say how much I appreciate you all and how thoughtful this discussion has been, that we talked about investing in long-term, ongoing, integrated arts and cultural programming that's sustainable. And all of this is that. And I feel, I will say that the Cottage Street Merchants Association, many of the store owners that were at that meeting were not at the cultural district meeting. And they were so happy to see this. The idea that the district is like active, that people come repeatedly to Easthampton and it's like thriving and lively, and arts and culture are just like an integrated part of it. It's not the same as the big one day, and I'm not equating them or dismissing that. But it does feel very significant and very important. I feel proud, honestly, of the decision we made. And the other thing that I will say that is included in that, I'll just call it a $20,000 budget. So this is my like little internal document with all the costs. I'm happy to pass it around. It's the cost, but it also includes marketing. And so we will be doing a lot of marketing for each and every one of these programs. So that marketing is targeted not just to our immediate communities, but throughout the region. So I think that there will be ongoing marketing efforts, bringing people to experience arts and culture in Easthampton, getting started in March through December. So I think that's another very significant piece, is that it's happening in a different way, but it's happening. And we have a lot to learn this year. And the last thing I would like to say is I do feel very personally motivated to explore other ways of doing an event like Cultural Chaos. Maybe it's every other year. Maybe it's with another active partner that's much more, that we're working together. I think there are many different forms something could take, but exploring ways for a much more sustainable street festival is something that I am personally committed to learning more about what that could be.
No, I think this looks great.
This will be a 11 by 17 poster, and it will be fleshed out a little bit, and the programs, we're gonna make them so that like art walk and things are gonna be a little bit tweaked on this. It's not final, but just to give you a sense of what we're looking at.
Just a question. Do you know where the bands are gonna be on the boardwalk and how it's gonna, where are they gonna be and where are people gonna like listen?
So their backs will be, the way that we've done it in the past is their backs will be to the pond, like at the kitty corner.
Okay.
And so it's not set up for like everyone gather around. There will be some people around and on the boardwalk watching. But it's more of like
You
a
can
backdrop to
hear the music up and down the street.
what's
Yeah.
going on. Yeah. Yeah. And we're gonna learn. They will always be staffed. So either I will be there, or Miriam will be there, or a volunteer, a trusted, maybe someone from this board will be there. But I want to be there because I have a lot to learn from what happens and how we can improve, but to greet the bands, to go through all that. I've talked with the Prindle School, I've talked with Luthiers. Both are really on board for helping us out as far as sound support, or helping with curating the lineup support, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I've talked to John Mason, I've talked to the mayor. We might have some additional like CERT volunteers or detail officer. And we can kind of also get to know it as it happens.
Awesome.
Any other
Any other
questions
questions?
or thoughts?
All right. So, you want to dive into the Easthampton Chamber of Commerce update?
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention, since we all met last, I met with John, the director of the chamber. So I put together a call to artists and an application for them because they want to start showing art on the walls. They're going to do quarterly shows. They are purchasing a rail system, much like the one in our hallway here, so that art can easily be installed. And they're looking at quarterly shows. The first show would begin in July. So there would be 2 shows this year and then 4 shows next year. They would participate in Art Walk, at least for the first month, and then it'll kind of depend on how it goes and also how the artist feels, but they're going to have light refreshments and be a stop. The Council on Aging has started to do some shows. And so I'm, trying to think of ways to kind of like, it can be tough, I know in the past, to get people to cross the street from Main to Union. So maybe having something that activates that space could be helpful. But yeah, I thought it was a really great kind of immediate development as wanting to be working together. I've got a follow-up meeting with John tomorrow afternoon, and looking forward to just like seeing more about ways we can work together.
Great. Awesome. So Steve, you want to give us the Easthampton Cultural Council's report?
Sure. Actually, like as a segue to that, I know that we just recently granted money to at least a couple of concerts that are going to be at the Council of Aging. And I have to go back and look if they have dates or not. They might not have dates, in which case maybe there's an opportunity for us to like coordinate with the Art Walk.
Absolutely.
So
we used to do a lot of that, and I am all for it. I think it's great.
So I'll look into that. And as an update, so as of yesterday was our deadline to get back just kind of initial paperwork from our 33 accepted grantees. I was talking to Tracy right before our meeting. We have the majority of them in. I think we're 5 or 6 are missing. So we'll just do our best to kind of like tie up loose ends there and get everyone their money. Money has been going out from the city auditor to people who've already gotten in their application paperwork as kind of a rolling basis. And other than that, and kind of shepherding those grantees to get all their stuff that need to get done, we are working on a reception for everybody on Sunday, March 29th at Abandoned Brewery. If anyone's been there before, this will be the 3rd time that we've done this. So we just invite all the different grantees to come, and like everyone, if you want, can get up and most people do give a little, 60-second explanation of what their project is. And it's a really great, like, kind of networking, mingling event for just kind of different creatives in town. So highly recommend. We'll have more stuff shortly about like an event invite and flyer and whatnot.
Well, the event
Sunday,
invite
March
went out.
29th.
It went out. You must not have seen it.
Not seen it. Oh, sorry. I did not see it.
We usually
It's
invite the grantees, but all are welcome. So you're more than welcome. It's from 4 to 6
On Sunday.
on
Yes.
Sunday the
Okay.
29th.
Yep, Sunday.
So everybody here is more than welcome.
This is the problem when I have 5 different emails. All right, I think that's kind of what we're at. The same as Pasadena, you mentioned, we're still kind of waiting on warmer weather to get the project with Amy John Quest going for the public art. But that's kind of update.
All right. Do we have anything from the Easthampton Futures Project?
I will say I did not have a chance to check before our meeting, so I am not sure.
All right. Well, we will have if something's in there, we will revisit that next meeting. Anybody have any new business?
Well, the Oxbow Gallery is we contracted with the Marigolds. We got a better deal than we sort of originally thought. And we got a grant from the Easthampton Cultural Council. And we're going to show this movie that is going to be really good. It's March 15th. Doors open at 3, movies 3:30 to 5 with a Q&A with the director of the movie, Evan Goodchild. It's about the painter Gregory Gillespie, who lived in the valley till his death by suicide in 2000, but he was like a real, very important figure and like nationally, internationally collected, and drew a lot of artists because like the Valley Realists were all sort of like coalesced around him. And I don't know, he still kind of ripples out. I feel like the Oxbow almost was like founded in response to all the Valley Realism. Like when we moved here, that was the only art that you could see in galleries. Like you have Gregory Gillespie, Scott Pryor, Ray Malici, Peggy, Fran Gillespie. Like they were all sort of this one group, and they dominated like all the window space in Northampton. And it was sort of like, wait, there's so many other artists here. Why is this all that we're seeing on the? So anyway, I think it's supposed to be really good. He got a lot of awards. He brought it to Cannes last year. It's not out you can't find it anywhere. I don't understand how this really works. He asked like, who should I send the movie to? And I'm thinking of like reels and celluloid and a projector, but I guess it's on his laptop. They're going to plug it into something at the Marigold and there's going to be sound. But we wanted to do it at the Oxbow, and then the fire marshal said you only have space for 50. Really to have an event, like a seated event. So we're really excited to work with the neighbors. And Pasqualina was supportive of how to do this. By saying that.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah, so that's March 15th. I hope you all can come. I think I listed it correctly on the Valley calendar.
Great, that's exciting.
Yeah, we're super psyched.
So exciting. Awesome. Well, a lot of great things happening. All right, I guess that concludes our meeting. Everybody.
Fastest meeting in ECA history.
No.
This is Tuesday, April 7th, I think.
Oh,
Say that again.
April 7th.
Right. That is one thing I wanted to say. So it's to be determined. I cannot make the
6th.
I can't make the 6th. So I was wondering if we could move it to the 7th, and if people are.
I don't believe I can make the 7th.
You
Let me
can't make
know.
this.
Yep, cannot make the 7th.
How about everybody else?
I can't.
No, let's do down.
I can, but could do other days too.
Something in
Nick,
here that I
little
think
engine
is an
it
error.
good.
Do we want to throw out another date or?
Why not the 13th?
Huh?
Why not the 13th? Next Monday. Which is the next Monday.
Don't you have, is that city space?
I thought it
Second or
was,
third?
I thought
The
you
13th
weren't
fine with
be,
me.
I
Fine
thought
with me.
you weren't able to do the
No,
13th.
I thought you couldn't do the 13th. I could do the 13th.
I can't do this.
I can do the 13th. We could. Does everybody no, you can't do the 13th?
I
What
can't.
about Wednesday, the 8th?
You can't do the 13th?
I can do the 13th. I cannot do the 8th.
Okay. It looks like we're probably gonna be down.
Cannot do.
I
the-
could do all those dates listed.
I can do all those dates.
Maud, you can't do the 13th? And then if we change it, you can't. So we're down one person.
Either way, yeah.
Either way.
One more, Thursday, the 9th.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't do Thursday the 9th.
Oh, yeah, I can't do the 9th either.
Okay, so let's do it.
Steve can't do it. It's a bad day.
So, the 13th then, is that the day that most people can do it?
Yeah.
All right, so let's do it the 13th.
Are you okay with that, Maud, or should we? I was gonna say
Yeah.
April 27th, but that seems like
And we do the
too
next week,
close
back
to
to
the,
back.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the 13th is the way to go.
5:30?
Back to 5:15.
Back to 5:15. All right, thanks, everybody.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.